Welcome back. We've covered digital marketing strategic considerations as an element of a digital marketing framework in Chapter 2.1 and 2.2. Now we'll get into some of the basics of go-to-market, often referred to by its abbreviation GTM, as well as the main considerations around measuring the effectiveness and performance of a campaign. Let's now get into the fundamentals of GTM. If you've done our venture creation course, you would have seen this before, so treat this as a refresher. We will detail the key activities and associated outcomes required to effectively implement the GTM process of your campaign. So, if you're going to market with a new product or service, brand positioning or repositioning, new company mission, or a new key feature or features of an existing product or service, you would need to identify up to 3 key pillars of your campaign. These pillars are what you want the target audience to remember after seeing your campaign. That is, what space you want your campaign to occupy in their mind, to hopefully be triggered by something familiar to your campaign long after they've seen it, which often happens with effective campaigns. If you are adding a new scent to your line of perfumes, you'd have to think about what you want your audience to remember after seeing one of your campaign posts. Smell good without drugging babies at an affordable price might be a good tagline to stress 3 pillars of occupation: the organic and less harmful potency nature of your perfume, its great scent, as well as its affordability, for example. Once you've decided on your 1, 2, or 3 pillars of occupation, as well as how to package them in terms of your campaign message, you would need to plan the awareness stage of your campaign. It's important to note here that your campaign could involve all the steps of this GTM process, which is typical of a new product or service launch, or just one of these stages. In fact, depending on your campaign objectives, each one of these stages could be a campaign on its own. The awareness stage is about getting your message out there and just getting people to see it. It's sort of a "I just want to let you know" type of approach. Your whole content plan for this stage should just be about getting people to notice what you want them to notice. You just want to let them know that brand X is launching a new perfume scent that smells nice, is affordable, and is not harmful. So you're telling them that you've got something new for them and why they want to know more about this something new in terms of what value they could get from it. The next stage after awareness is education. So you've gotten their attention, so they are interested. Now you need to educate them about this new scent of yours in greater detail. You further enforce the perception of value, underpinned by your pillars, while at the same time dispelling any negative perception issues. For example, affordable when it comes to perfumes often means low scent concentration and high alcohol content. So you can deal with such things in your product education stage. Maybe your artwork should include messaging around how an open bottle of your new perfume scent attracts bees and makes them happy instead of attracting, sedating, and killing flies. The whole point of the education stage is to inspire a desire to, at a minimum, get the user to engage you in the form of perhaps going to your website, checking your catalog, commenting, and perhaps even asking questions on your post, or even saving your post. At best, if your message is really compelling and talks to their need, a new mom perhaps who has no choice but to smell somewhat funky because they don't want to expose their newborn to cosmetic chemicals, they might even jump straight to monetization, that is, buying your product. Really successful campaigns can emphasize a need some users didn't even know they had and inspire them to move straight to purchasing. The next stage is monetization, where you actually get the user to buy once they've engaged and are satisfied that your product meets their needs at a price that makes sense for them. Remember that depending on your campaign objectives, monetization might be something else. Say, for example, you're actually not selling anything. Your objective might be to get people to sign a petition for a cause you're passionate about. Then your monetization stage in this case would involve getting that signature. The monetization stage is all about reinforcing the perception of value or even elevating it by making one of the key pillars even more attractive. The most common modes of driving the desire to purchase is to sweeten the deal. Discounts are very common at this stage. Last, you want converted users to tell their friends about your product. Word of mouth advertising has been proven to be very effective in acquiring new customers or new audiences who have a high likelihood of being converted from sheer interest to making a purchase. The most common approach is to incentivize your converted customers to tell their friends. Dropbox did this very well by offering you free storage for every person you referred. Sometimes, if your product or service is really good at meeting customer needs, you won't need to incentivize customers to promote you via word of mouth. They'll gladly do it for free. We all tend to tell anyone who'll listen when we've made a discovery we're really excited about. Okay, now let's move on to monitoring and evaluation. That is, monitoring and evaluating the performance of your campaign. So you want as many people to have a chance to see your post on, say, Twitter or advertisement on Google or YouTube. This is what we call impressions. Impressions do not necessarily mean audiences saw your post. It just means the number of users who had the opportunity to see it. That is, scrolled past it or it appeared on their timeline while they were busy engaging the timeline. If your keyword usage is strong and your keywords appear on a number of trending topics for the day, then your impressions will be very high. Keywords are actually more effective than hashtags on social media because the algorithm will not punish you for suspected spam. Also, while hashtags can be quite effective on, say, Instagram and LinkedIn, they tend to dilute and cheapen a brand on platforms such as Twitter. The bottom line is that if you've done your content planning, design and scheduling well enough, you'll get a lot of impressions. Now, you have to evaluate that out of the number of impressions, that is, the number of users who got the opportunity to encounter your post, how many of them actually engaged it in some shape or form. That is, how many of them actually stopped to open your tweet, scroll your pictures, comment on your reel, like or retweet your post. That number tends to be quite smaller than the number of impressions. It can be quite heartbreaking, but bear in mind that some users can see and stop on a post without interacting with it. There are lurkers on every digital platform, people whose attention you've got, but they don't want to show it. Next, we evaluate if the users performed any activity that suggests they wanted to learn more about your brand or your post. If you have a link on your post, how many of them actually clicked on it? How many of them viewed your profile and clicked any links in your profile? Again, at this point, the number shrinks again. This might not necessarily be a bad thing depending on the objectives of the campaign and the desired target audience. If you're selling a high-end, very expensive product, you might get aspirational users performing actions such as an act of perhaps manifestation without a chance of ever being able to afford the product in the foreseeable future. This provides a false excitement on your end because you think you've attracted a large number of users that you can potentially monetize, which is not necessarily true. Quality beats quantity in this instance. Note that we're talking about quality of leads, not quality of users. Users can click on your link, go to your website, then get there and do absolutely nothing, and pretty much just bounce. You want to know how many users actually viewed your website content, went through your online store catalog, read your entire online petition, read your blogs, and so on. These users have a high likelihood of being converted, that is, signing your petition, making a purchase, subscribing to your channel, blog or podcast, and so on. Someone who has added an item or two into a cart is showing intention to buy, which is a good outcome. Lastly, we look at the number of users that have been converted. This can happen over a number of days, which is why it's important to monitor a campaign as it is running. Low impressions might just mean you need more time for users to see your campaign. On the other hand, having high impressions but extremely low engagements might mean your messaging or media is not hitting the mark. You might have to adjust your content to facilitate more engagement. Conversions have a number of benefits, besides getting some money in the bank, of course. You now have a converted customer who, with good customer experience and customer relationship management, you can not only potentially continuously monetize in future, but also have a new advertising and customer acquisition avenue in the form of word of mouth. Word of mouth customer acquisition can be very effective in building a growing loyal base of continuously monetized customers, which is quite ideal for any brand or business. And that's it for Chapter 2.3. Join us in Chapter 3 and 4 when we demonstrate full implementation of digital marketing via a case study. Thanks for watching.